So first of all, I'm going to start off with kind of a thanks. And I'm going to thank, go back a little bit in history for this. But if you remember with our first, when we first started talking about the Centennial, and we had Buddy Barnes as our national president. I give him a lot of kudos because if you remember, he had a spring to the start. He got the Centennial Commission stood up with Cindy leading it. A lot of people in this room, Dave, a couple of others that were on that Centennial Commission. And we really built a ton of positive momentum with our sprint to the start and getting ready for our Centennial. We're all planning things, we're all doing things, we're all getting ready. Everybody was excited about the second century and how we're going to start it. But we really took a focus on celebrate the past, but look forward as we did that. But I will tell you, the leader that I went to that I think carried us the most was Heather. And that is, she had probably the toughest year I've ever seen for our society as a national president. She dealt with some extremely tough issues. On top of that, she had a very tough day job. That was why I would reach up and grab her. But she did a fantastic job in really getting us started in that second century. And she did it in a way that none of us had planned. Right? I think it was a last-minute decision on Capitol being canceled because of COVID, and then it was all of a sudden it was like Jesse's one completely virtual. The entire staff pivoted. We were talking about pivoting, and every event that we did that year, Heather did virtually. And I'll talk about this a little bit when we kick off one of the opening sessions. But I'm looking forward to Heather having a chance to be on an actual stage instead of a virtual stage. But it really was. You think about where we are today. I thank Buddy Barnes for the leadership that our whole team had in that enthusiasm, and then Heather really sustained us for that pandemic year. And when she turned over to me, she said, "Hey, Mark, got a problem. Pandemic's over. You got an easy run, right? It's not good." And again, I would just say that it wasn't the year we had planned, 2022 either, right? And it was the one that I remember it was a year ago. We were finishing Gen C, we were doing virtual. I turned over to Heather. I had a talk with Joe. We actually said, "Hey, I think we can." Looking at the numbers, I think we can say we're back, right? We're looking forward to a couple of other events, messengers, all those things. Anyway, didn't turn out exactly as planned, but we are a resilient bunch. We did a mixture of things, virtual and in person. And as we came out of that pandemic, we dealt again with some tough issues this year. I do also want to just pause and talk about a little bit about a couple things. First of all, Joe touched on the governance of the society and the board of direction and the executive committee. And I'll tell you that one of the objectives I had was to get a more engaged executive committee. And our executive committee has done a fantastic job in many things. And if you remember, we went through a couple of different things that we went through this year. We completely revised our membership structure. And that was something that I can't remember how many years we tried doing that. And
decades.
And we probably pulled our hair out for a while. We'd bring it up to the board, someone would bring up a question, and we'd send it back to committee. And we bring up an issue, and we have gone through all the details of it, right? So what we did with the executive committee, what we really did is said, hey, in a board meeting like this, it's a little bit of a challenge to have a discussion and really start exchanging ideas. So what we did is we picked a number of folks on the executive committee. Joe kind of went through the composition of that. And that's really where we have the pre-briefs and the discussions, and we go back and make sure that those decisions are board ready. Okay? It doesn't mean that we have, it's unanimous that we do it. We go through and say, hey, we understand the issues, we've looked at the alternatives, and we've looked at it collectively as to what the best path forward is. And that's what we do with membership. Okay? And so let me just real quick, current executive committee, just stand up real quick so you guys can see who the current executive committee is. Mario, please stand up. Got a bunch of folks. Got a good mix of COI. So one of the things we also did is we also changed, and this happened, really got implemented this year. We changed our streamer system for our posts with a real focus on IG. industry government engagement. And if you were at the Capital Week, Stephen loves this one because I coined the phrase, we're in the golden age of industry government engagement. We've got a huge infrastructure bill. We have tremendous challenges with our service engineer chiefs and our agencies. They see a huge amount of workload. They also see that the huge infrastructure bill is going to distract many of our agencies, many of our contracting partners that they have on other work. And so they said, hey, we need the best ideas they have. How do we break down barriers? How do we manage risk better? And they're asking for industry to partner with them. So we really are in that golden age of industry government engagement. And that's, again, a lot of credit to the people that came before us that started us on that journey of industry government engagement. But I will tell you that in our posts, we kind of said, hey, you got to focus on industry government engagement. And we have a lot of posts, but 71 were getting streamers because of that industry government engagement. 48 of them got distinguished because they did more than just that. And then the other one, I just kind of reflect on the year. I really had 3 focus areas I remember. All right, the first goes back to IG, and it was about engaging thought leadership within our society. And that really focuses around our technical COIs and all our COIs. But again, how does that cascade down to our posts so that we get the very best in industry on some of those top projects? And so the other one that we did with our executive committee is we also looked at what are the top issues that are facing our agency partners and facing our profession. So we get input from our COIs, we get input from our whole society, but we also listen to our service engineer chiefs and our agency partners to hear what's important to them. All right, so that focus on IG, I would say we just started that journey of thought leadership in this area, is to make sure that we're bringing the very best to our we've got a huge number of technical professionals within our society. So we've got to find ways to leverage the very best. So I would put that category as I reflect back on this year. I think we started on that journey. Brad Blaney kind of led that effort with Rob Bierman and really put us on a path for it. That's one of those things. We'll talk a little bit about kind of succession planning and consistency. We've got to make sure we maintain it both those things. The second one, we're going to have a discussion at our board meeting. We're going to talk about DEI, right? We're going to get a brief on, kind of what our working group has come up with. I think most of you have seen the DEI statement that I signed out today. And we're going to have an opportunity today as a board, and this has been vetted through the executive committee, to look at actually putting in place a governance that's going to make sure that we go down that journey of DEI and we sustain it. And now, I'll be the first to tell you, we don't have every answer to every element, but it is a journey. There's a lot of education pieces in there that you'll see. But we are looking to make a firm commitment to that. And I think we are at stage for us to be bold in that one, to be leaders in the industry. And the third one I would say, and this goes back to my comment about that transition from leadership from, in my case, from Heather to myself. Remember, Heather started the KLPC, probably one of the best programs that we started, because it really talked about how do we develop leaders to be on every level, from our posts, to our regions, to our COIs, to our national leadership team, all the way to the president of our society. Okay. Matt Altman and his team, well, many of these people in this room were on that team, really started that process and really started to demystify some of these positions that we have. And it really is about, it's about leadership. It's about tapping people on the shoulder and saying, hey, I think you should be part of that national leadership team. Or I think you should ascend from being a post president to being a regional vice president. Okay? So one of the things we did is we sustained that between Heather and I and kept that KLDC on. And this is another one where we're going to see that transition. Now we're going to put that into our leadership development COI as part of the action piece of working. So I won't go into everything that I'm going to say on stage, but I did want to kind of share a couple of last thoughts with you as I finish this year. I warned Cindy and Heather warned me it's going to go by real fast, as it does. But I will tell you that I am filled with a sense of gratitude as I look back on this past year. And if you think about it, SAME is really a leader in professional society. We are a group of like-minded professionals that are passionate about our mission, and we're passionate about our people. And it really is something very, very special. I've been parts of other professional societies, and they're very collegial, and they do great things. But this organization that we have is very special. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But it is really about that people are passionate about it. I'll also say, and this goes back to the last couple of years, we've proved that we're a very resilient bunch. Right? Everybody found ways to connect, to keep their programs going. I think everybody's going to be happy to get back in person, go back to a couple things. But again, as we talked about it, we've got to learn from what we happened this past year, the past 2 years, to make sure that we adapt and continue to challenge ourselves and provide the very best that we can. And then thirdly, when I think about SAME, why I'm grateful is we have some absolutely world-class programs. Right? We have probably the best leadership development program I've ever seen. We've got a program within our camps, which is second to none. We've got a structure of communities of interest that bring the best of industry together around a certain topic and around that mission. And then we have a leadership structure with posts and regions and national leadership teams that keep the governance of the society going strong. So again, I'm very, very grateful for being a part of SAME. And this past year, I tell you, it's just really kind of hit home to me about how different and how special we are. And really it is because, we are all passionate about our profession. We're all passionate about our mission. Supporting national security. And I think it's a lot of people like myself and a number of the folks that were in here that were in uniform before, serving our nation for many, many years. And I know for me, this has given me a way to continue to serve when I'm out of uniform. And for the many of those people who have not served, but have been, I would say not served in uniform, but have served in the military mission, this is another great way and we're going to continue to keep that focus strong. And then we're also very passionate about our people, developing our people. And we'll do the mentoring board this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon. But it is about developing our people as well. And then as I kind of really reflect on it, the one thing that I'll tell you that makes this society very different and very special for me is we definitely have a sense of purpose, but we also have a sense of family. Just getting everybody back together. These connections and friendships that we made last a lifetime, and professional relationships last a lifetime. And you make lots of connections through the society, through friends, and I'll tell you, just getting our national leadership team together for dinner last night and just talking about different stories. I don't think we talked too much about work or about society. We talked about family, we talked about a number of other things. And that really is special. But I do put that in this order. It is really, we're passionate about that mission in our profession, but we also have that sense of family. And if we ever flip those, we become more of a fraternity than we do a professional organization. So I think we've got the focus right with those two. So let me kind of conclude with kind of succession planning. I tell you again, once again, I'm going to thank Heather as my predecessor here. She took over as president. One of her first calls was to me and said, "Hey Mark, you're going to be president next year. Let's have a discussion once a month about different topics that are going to hit you when you're president of SAE, because you don't know what those are going to be." And we had a very good battle around where once a month we would get together and just talk about what are the responsibilities of president in this phase of the year. And I've taken Heather's lead, and I've done the same thing with Cindy for the last year. I talked last night about this national leadership team. I think, Heather, I encouraged you to go for president. I told you I'd be one of your vice presidents, and you went for president. And then for Charlie, for Sharon, for Brad, for a whole national leadership team, and especially Cindy, I nominated every one of them for one of the positions that they're in today. And I did that because I believe in them as leaders in our society. And I couldn't be happier to turn it over to our society than I am to turn it over to Cindy Lipscomb. She, I think most of us know the passion she has for our society, the energy she has puts me to shame, and I have a lot of energy, but she does so much for our society, and I'm looking forward to watching her inspire our society, and really take us to that next step as we're now going to be out of that, hey, we've got to start that second century. Now it's, now I'll let her do her message here, and I will seal it in, and she's been some time to share everything. I'm excited about the focus that she has on this, and it really is about service, and it really is about supporting our mission, and supporting our people. And so with that, Cindy, please come on up. I'll give you a chance. Again, I want to give you a little reflection, but it is, we're going to actually turn over presidency on Thursday, but I feel like we've been doing this for the last couple of months, and I couldn't be prouder to have Cindy Lipscomb as our next president. So, Cindy?